Okay guys, so 2.4, we're doing some more word problems. Today we're solving word problems about consecutive integers. Okay, so consecutive integers and their word problems. Okay, so let's define some stuff first. First thing we need to define is what is a consecutive integer. A consecutive integer are integers that follow each other in order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, those are consecutive integers. So how would we write that? Well, if we let x be an integer, what would the next one be? X plus 1, right? Yeah. If our first integer is 2, how do we get the next integer? We add 1 to it. What about the integer after that? Then we would have x plus 2. The integer after that, x plus 3, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So x is always going to be our first integer that we start with. Every consecutive integer after that, we keep adding 1. Does that make sense?
Wait, I have a question.
If our very first integer that we started with was 1, x plus 1 would be 2. X plus 2 would be 3, right? Because x is 1. X plus 3 would be 4.
So you have to do like 4x.
So what if we don't know what x is? We would just put the variable. That's what it means. But every time we're looking for the next consecutive integer, we're always adding 1, right? So that's all it means. Right now we're explaining it in algebra terms. Okay, let's think about it. Okay. So let me get my thing. Okay, so let's start. Somebody give me an x. Any x. What? 9. Good. Okay, so if x equals 9, that means we're starting the list at 9. How do I get the next consecutive integer? It's 10. And what's x plus 1? 10. What comes after 10? 11. What's x plus 2? 11. Oh, I wrote 10. Okay, after 11, what comes next? 12. What's x plus 3? 9 plus 3 is 12. So x means that's our initial variable, our initial number that we start with. Sometimes we might not know what number we started with. And then x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, that's just telling us how we get each of the next numbers in the order. It's 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. 9 plus 2 is 11. 9 plus 3 is 12. Get it? Yeah. Okay. So sometimes they might be asking for the consecutive odd integers or consecutive even integers. Okay? Consecutive odd or even integers just means the odd or even integers that follow each other in order. So if x is the first one, this time we're not going every single one right after the other, right? Because if 3 is my initial integer, what's the next odd one? What odd number comes after 3? 5. And then it would be 7. So we're always skipping 1, right? So we would be adding by 2's this time. And we'll do an example. I'll show you. Okay? Okay, so for example, let's do even integers first. So somebody give me an even integer, any even integer. 18? Okay, so let's let x equal 18. So 18 is the first in my list. Alright, so then I'm looking for the next even integer. After 18, what's the next even integer? 20. Let's check if that's true. X plus 2. 18 plus 2 gives me? 20. What about 18 plus 4? What does that give me? 22. Is that the next one in order? Yes. What about x plus 6? 24. And it keeps going on and on. So it's the same idea, but when we're talking about odd or even consecutive integers, we're always going to be skipping one, right? If we're in evens, we're always going to be skipping the odd numbers. If we're in odds, we're always going to be skipping the even numbers. Let's try this with odd. So somebody give me an odd integer. X equals 5. There we go. Okay, so 5 is the first number. What would be x plus 2? 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 plus 6? 11. And so doesn't that work too? So we're always skipping the even integers. So this x plus 2, x plus 4, x plus 6, that is just when we don't know what the integer is yet. So that's just how we represent it in algebraic terms. Okay? Okay. So, all we're going to be doing from now on is some examples. So let's look at some examples. Example 1. The sum of two consecutive integers is 83. What are the integers? So example 1, the sum of two consecutive integers is 83. What are the integers? So am I consecutive, odd, or even, or just plain consecutive? Just plain consecutive. So I have a sum of two consecutive integers. Alright, so I'm going to let my first one be x, just like it is here. And what would the next consecutive integer be? X plus 1. So I'm summing these together, so I'm adding them together. So x plus 1 equals what? 83. This is one integer. This is the next integer. Okay, so then let's solve this like we normally would. I'm going to combine my terms here. X plus x gives me what? 2x. 2x plus 1 equals 83. Now what do? Excellent. I subtract 1 from both sides. 1 minus 1 cancels, so I'm left with 2x on the left equals 83 minus 1, 82. And what do I do to solve? Divide by 2. 41. So x equals 41. That's one integer. What's the next integer? What's the next consecutive one? 42. 42. So x equals 41. So x plus 1 equals 42. Does that work? Let's try it. Before I put it in a box, I'm going to try it. So let's add 41 plus 42. What's 41 plus 42?
83.
83. It works. So my answer, my two integers are 41 and 42. All right, so example 2. The sum of two consecutive integers is 179. What are the integers? Okay, so same thing as the last example. I'm just working with two consecutive integers. So the first integer is going to be what? X. I don't know what x is, but if I find x, I can find the next one. And it's going to be x plus, the next integer after x is x plus 1. Whenever I find out what x is, I can add 1 to it, and that'll give me the next integer. So x plus 1 equals 179. So when I add the two integers together, I get 179. Now we're just going to solve like we normally would. So I have some like terms here that I can combine. X plus x gives me 2x plus 1 equals 179. I want to solve for x, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So I get 2x equals 178. Last, I divide both sides by 2. Those cancel, and I get x equals 89. So if x equals 89, that's one integer. The next consecutive integer after that is x plus 1, which is 90. 89 plus 1 is 90. So what is this saying? I'm saying that 89 plus 90 equals 179. Does it? Let's check it. Okay, so our check. 89 plus 90 equals 179. 179 equals 179. So yes, it checks. Okay.